Okay, so here is a dark nest. Let's look here, see my scouting report. I look at this report. I see almost 3 million hit points on the wall. That's a lot, so I'm going to make sure to get siege. I see a lot of Royal Guard, okay, a lot of snipers. What this tells me is they're probably going to be an infantry phalanx with their Royal Guard right up front. So what counters Royal Guard is cavalry. Yes, stealth snipers is the counter to cavalry, but by the time we knock out 1.6 million worth of Royal Guard, their morale will be gone. So we don't have to worry about the snipers as much because there's so much Royal Guard in relation to snipers. It's like 3 to 1 that we will win the battle just by killing off the guard. Okay, so I go to this thing. I set up my dark nest. I hit rally attack. 5 minutes. I am going to choose to attack with cavalry, which for me is number 2 here. Okay, so here's all my ancient Drake riders. Come down here. I'm going to send 4 sharpshooters. No meat shield because this is a dark nest, and you guys will. Your T3 will be the meat shield. So I've got 4 grunts and 4 archers. Okay, take out the sharpshooters. Now I'm going to come back up here and use my best siege. I'm going to turn down the siege though because to be honest with you, my T4 is better to send T4 than siege and let you guys fill it with siege. So because I'm the only one with T4, I'm going to send the max T4 I can send. Obviously my heroes are selected for cav and I hit rally. Okay. So now I'm going to type in the chat, join rally, send only cav, T3, fill remaining spots with as much siege as you can. So I've sent the 4 and the 4. I've sent all my cavalry, and I'm asking them to fill it with T3 cav, and then send all the siege they can. The siege is going to help with the wall. Now, the only time we use siege in a rally for darkness in any mass amount because they usually have really strong walls. You don't see that when you're fighting players very often. There are such things as wall traps, but in this new kingdom you won't see that very much. And even in old kingdoms you rarely see it. It's usually the last thing a player will do. So there'll usually be hundreds and hundreds of millions of might before you start to see that. I'm talking like close to 1 billion might, typically, unless they design themselves as a wall trap, which is, like I said, rare. Okay, so now we've got people coming. Let's look and see what we got. So here's the Dark Nest rally. Okay, so Critical has sent his cavalry, no siege. Scarecrow, his cavalry with some siege. This tells me Critical maybe that's his whole march. Or maybe he didn't have siege. Tink sent 36. But no siege, so she probably doesn't have siege, which is not a smart thing. Leo, again, not much siege. You guys got to have siege because when you attack normally, you always want to send 5,000 siege because siege typically will survive even if everything else is dead. So you can get your leader saved by sending that 5,000 siege. So make sure you do that. Okay, everybody's doing well. Alright, so we've got enough now, 1.2, that will win because there was only 1.6. Forget it. My cavalry, of all the 3 troop types, cavalry does the most damage to a wall. So the fact that I'm going to be sending T4 with all this T3 up against that wall, the wall will last maybe 3 or 4 seconds, I would imagine, and I'm estimating. Still getting some more fire. Trebuchet. Okay, good there. Alright. So now I'm going to check and make sure that I'm in the right talents. If you do not send your leader, none of this counts. You don't get any of this. So I'm in ranged right now. You can see the range offense. So I'm going to change my talent to cav. Okay. So now I've got all my cav in there. So we're maxed out at cav. And then I'm also going to put on my cav gear. Now again, none of this can. If you don't send your leader, your talents do not count towards the attack, and all this gear does not count towards the attack. You lose so much. If you look here, we're going to look and see what I would lose. So here's my cavalry attack. I'm normally a 135 plus. If I do not deploy my leader, I lose over 220% on my attack. This 351, I'm sorry, my 351 is what I lose. So I lose 351% on that attack if I do not send my leader. It is so important that you always send your leader on anything that you consider anything but like the easiest win of all time. Okay? Okay. So you get essence. Wow, I just flubbed that spelling, but I'll let it ride. Okay. Now we'll go back and we look. Cheesy set. Now, so he said Royal Campfire Truck. Now, if somebody sends, let's say they send, 30,000 range units. I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm going to be in a cav formation, which is range phalanx. You can see that the cavalry is all the way in the back. Okay. Now, I have added the 4 squads. So I added 4 range and 4 infantry. So I've already taken up these 4 squad spots. So when this march hits the wall, all the range that's going to be attacking my entire army, the first volley is going to go right here at these squads. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first 4 volleys are going to be wasted on one single troop. The next 4 volleys are going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first 8 volleys are wasted attacking squads that are just meant to die. So it keeps the range from hitting any of our cavalry for a good portion of the event. Okay, and of course range is the counter to cavalry, so that's a good thing. All right, now if somebody was to send 30,000 infantry, then that would put, let's say they sent 40,000, that would put 10,000 infantry in each of these squads. Meaning when the archers shot and hit this one squad, they would kill 10,000 instead of 1. That 10,000 would hurt our morale very much. Therefore, if you allow someone to send the wrong troop type and they fill these squad spots, which are meant to die without hurting your morale, if they fill them with actual people, then they do die and hurt your morale. So that's why it's very important that you do not allow anyone to send a troop type that you do not want. Okay? So now let's look now. We'll see. We've got 25 seconds. We got Leo at 1:56. So 1:56 is when we'll launch. Okay. Physics got off easy. Okay. Just making sure there's no range being sent and no infantry being sent. Now this one troop type attack is always more powerful. Always. Always more powerful. We are taking our advantage and putting it directly against their disadvantage. If you put your disadvantage against their advantage, you will lose more morale, meaning you will do less damage. So you will never attack with anything more than one troop type. Even if it's 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. If that's the case, you try to choose what you think their front line is, and you attack that front line with one troop type. And that's it. All right. Comes the rest of them. I wonder where this little dude's going. All right. So you can also look and see whatever troop type you're using, whatever single troop you're going to be attacking with, you choose the phalanx that puts them in the back. So if I'm attacking with range, I choose infantry phalanx. If I'm attacking with cavalry, with cavalry, I choose range phalanx. If I'm attacking with infantry, I would choose cavalry phalanx. When you get to the point where you open up wedges, that wedges can affect things a little bit. Wedges are typically good for defending. There are certain times you might use them for attacking. But anyway. Alright, so we are actually in range phalanx because we're using cavalry. Now, again, every time you make an attack, even in soloing a castle, always send some siege. Siege stays in the very back. And even if they kill the ones they're supposed to kill, these first two, siege will escape. And then that's what brings your leader back to you. So it's very important that I always send at least 5,000 siege on any attack I do when I use my leader, especially because I don't want to lose my leader on an attack. That's the only time you should ever lose a leader is when you're attacking. But adding some siege is a good way to not lose that leader. Okay, so we're now traveling. Now I could use a carpet to speed it up, but I save those for actual actual problems. Now we're going to watch the annotation on this so you guys can see what will happen. We should hit the wall. It's about almost 3 million hit points. That's pretty big. So the wall will be what takes the longest amount of time, which I imagine 3 or 4 seconds, depending on how much siege they get sent. When my cavalry does a lot of damage to a wall, followed by infantry, followed by range. Range does no damage to a wall. So if you're attacking with all the cavalry, you can get away without sending as much of the siege. But if you can't send all the cavalry needed, you might as well send all your siege. But everyone should have at least 10,000 siege, and you should have siege of I don't guess it matters so much what level it is. T1's fine, because it usually goes away without getting hit. But the safer play is to have higher grade siege. Alright, let's watch it. So you're going to watch the volleys come at the first troop types, right up here. See these volleys kind of come and just hit them. Does nothing to our morale. Now we start hitting the wall, and it goes so quick because of the T4 and all the other stuff we brought. Now watch their morale just drop. You see their ranges in the back. We're taking cav to hit all of their infantry. So their morale is just plummeting so quick. We probably won't go below 80, I would imagine. Yep. We'll go to about 80. But again, none of this counts really because all these get saved. So we went to 77 to their 0. Okay. If we look at the battle report, so they were an infantry reg, which is what I expected them to be in. Some sort of infantry front. Okay? If you look at infantry range, they had their infantry up front mixed in with some of their range. So when we attacked, the reason we went to 77 is because their infantry was mixed into that front line. I'm sorry, their range was mixed into the front line. So when we attacked, instead of attacking all infantry, we attacked infantry and range. And range, of course, is our counter. So that both front two lines attacked us. Okay? So that's what the wedge does. Different. If they had been just in infantry phalanx, we would have hit their front line without really engaging our counter. So they were in the best formation for them. Okay? That's how infantry reg works. Okay? So we go back to the battle report. So we had 108 red dead. They had 1.1 million. Everything we lost was cavalry because that's all we sent. We didn't lose any siege, obviously. Didn't lose any of the ancient Drake Riders because the meat shield is always the level below. So, yeah, not a bad attack. We did it. Good job.